Welcome to Trustee Talk. I'm Big Murgatroyd. Thank you for joining us. Our guest today is one of our newest trustees, Andrew Pappas. Andrew, last time we saw you, I think, was in January.
It was cold.
It was cold, and you and Josh were just getting your feet on the ground, and so we had a chance to meet you then. So we're anxious. I'm anxious really to see how it's gone and how you like it, and if it's all that you thought it would be, and what some of the hang-ups are that you weren't anticipating.
I do
in
like
this
it.
new role.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I do like it. It's been fun, and Josh and I are still learning quite a bit, but it's been an experience that we're enjoying, and we're trying to breathe some levity into the roles.
Yeah, it's good.
Because sometimes you can take this a little too seriously.
Yeah, you can.
And we'd like to just remind everybody, or I guess ourselves more than anything else, that you know what, this is very serious business that we're doing, but we also need to keep it in perspective.
Keep it light.
Keep it light.
Yeah.
Keep it real. We have fun. Sometimes we've been known to adjust everybody's seat prior to a board meeting or a trustee meeting. Well, Mr. Jackson did that to us, the first one. We were.
Did he really?
We looked like at the first board meeting, our seats were incredibly low and his was incredibly high. And we were stuck there. Like, we didn't realize it at the time. It was the first time sitting in the seat. But it looked like we were at the kiddie counter. So we've set the tone, and we're going down the path, and we're having a great time.
That's good. That's good. Is it more than what you anticipated as far as
more little
the
stuff,
responsibilities?
More little stuff. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of requirements to be here, to be there, not necessarily for any length of time, but a lot of little things. So it is a part-time job for sure, but it's spread out over a large amount of time. And especially around election season,
yeah.
We just finished up a primary. It seems like at some point someone's always running for re-election. So there's parties or fundraisers or party gatherings that we're not necessarily required to attend, but it's probably good to attend.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that kind of stuff. And that actually has been probably the biggest surprise, is that it's almost, some nights of the week, it's almost every night.
Well, I would imagine so, and the fact that there's only 3 of you, basically, that's
yes.
out there. I mean, you know, because you get in cities, and some cities and they have larger councils, so they can spread that.
They can spread that load.
Because I'm sure there's a lot of demands just for the usual. I know when I was in office, I went to a lot of lunches and a lot of rubber chicken dinners. You know,
there's a lot of that, and you know, you forget that having run through the election, but it was our first time. You know, there's a primary, so there's always something going on for the primaries, different candidates, and then you gear up for. It just seems like the general's right around the corner. I mean, it's coming up in November.
It's fast.
And there's already events lined up for that. This week coming up, we have a big Hamilton County event, the Lincoln Day Dinner and Reagan Dinner, and we'll be there for that. Just lots of things like that.
Well, you know, and I think too that they start earlier in the election process anymore.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they start way out, and so by the time you get to, you're thankful to get to the primary, just for it to be over.
Well, you think it's over.
Well, you think it is. And then you pick right up the day afterwards, and you're back into it again.
Pick up those signs,
save them, and put them out again.
Put them out again in a few short weeks. You know, it's going to be the really interesting thing that's kind of exciting is this talk if Cincinnati hosts the Republican convention.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
If that happens, and I think that we have a much better than average shot, that we're going to be very, very busy.
Absolutely.
And that's exciting.
Is that the
2016?
Which is going to be here before you know it.
Before you know it.
Yeah.
And the prep work for that is huge.
Huge. Details on something like that is overwhelming.
I know some of the people involved, and it is staggering the amount of details that have already been
Oh, yeah.
done and the financial commitments that they've
Yeah.
received, and all the little things you don't even think of that they've had to cross those bridges. So I'm hopeful that it happens. I think Cincinnati is a wonderful geographic location. I think if you draw a 500-mile radius around Cincinnati, you're within possibly half of the population of the United States. It's very
much
close,
so.
within a day's drive, easy. So we'll see what happens. I'm keeping my fingers
Well,
crossed.
it'll be an interesting thing.
That'd be great.
It'll be a huge event for Cincinnati. I mean, I think we haven't had anything of that nature that's nationally, recognized, and it will give Cincinnati a chance to present itself.
Especially when you consider that
national
every
audience.
presidential election comes through Ohio.
Yeah,
It would be huge.
it would be amazing.
We'll see what happens.
So you're having fun though. That's the
Having a
thing.
good time.
Having a good
Still,
time.
balancing business and trustee time takes some doing.
Well, because that was my other. I guess my other question is because you are a full-time businessman, and so it's not like you don't have something to do, and if you're running a small business, that can be 24/7
I'm 25.
or 25. For me it's 25. I'm trying to find that other one, but I mean I think that's got to be the tough part because to try to keep on top of that and.
I've found that I'm using my phone calendar a lot more than I ever did before.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm having to make notes of when things are and juggle another ball or two in the air because, there's a lot of things. Now, you have your own small business.
Yeah, right.
There is no IT department.
No.
There's there's no tech department. There's none of that.
No.
And so we do a little bit of everything.
Well, you do. Yeah, you do. I mean, I laugh because I came out of a world that, a political world for 10 years, but before that, a corporate world. And now, when something has to be done, you look around, you go, let's see. Who's going to do that? And then you look in the mirror and say, I guess it's your turn.
I don't even look in the mirror anymore. I just say, just get out of my way and let me do
Let
it.
me do it. That's right.
Because I'm going to save a lot of time and heartache if I try to delegate it to somebody
there's
else.
no one to hand it off to.
No,
I mean, in our business especially, we got a very small staff in the office, and because most of our staff are the ones that go out and do the work in the homes. So there's no one to turn around and say, hey, could you do this? Because they're looking at me going, how much more do you want me to do?
Oh, I'm well aware, and that's the only, not necessarily difficult part of this, but scheduling to make sure that I don't have a conflict.
Yeah.
So that if there's something going on for the township, that I don't miss it, and I don't want to miss it, and I don't think it's fair to ask the other trustees to take up my slack.
Right.
And we haven't crossed that bridge yet.
Well, it is a matter just of balancing it out and being able to stay on top of it. That's half the battle.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, running a small, and that's one thing that I'm glad that I can bring that perspective to the trustee position. I don't know offhand if we've had a small business owner recently as trustee. Now, they've worked for, there's nothing wrong with corporate America. We need corporate America. But the small business employs about half the United States.
Absolutely.
And small business makes up about 95% of the businesses in the United States. There's a little difference there. They're not one-man shop. But it's something that I always look at every day and say, is there anything Anderson Township can be doing at a local level to maybe make it easier for people to either open or expand their small business here at Anderson Township?
Well, because that's a large part of your economic base.
It is.
I mean, when you think about it, I mean, you've got a few large
We just added one.
Yeah. But most of, I would say the highest percentage of the business base is our small businesses.
Correct.
Mom and pop businesses.
Mom and pop.
Yeah.
And any way that we could, for example, we've been talking to Hamilton County about possibly opening up a part-time satellite permit office out here so that if somebody wanted to open up a shop or do something that required a permit, which, you know, anytime you lease a space and do any significant improvement, you're going to be required to pull a permit on that. Well, it's a little bit inconvenient for the average suburbanite to drive downtown, find a place to park, feed the meter, run in. You don't really know where you're going. You go up there. It can be daunting.
Yeah,
and especially and especially when you consider that the small business is the IT, is the architect, is the electrician.
Absolutely.
Well, not the electrician, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
He's the guy running
pretty
the
much
permits.
everything. Yeah,
He's
they got to do it all. That's right.
So we're looking into ways, and we've been in discussion with them, and maybe they could use one of our offices here for 1 or 2 days a week, having a set number of hours that if somebody wants to get the permit process rolling, they could submit the plans here at the township for Hamilton County and then not have to go downtown, or maybe get an answer. And we have, you know, we have a great staff. I've said that since day one. And that's probably the most amazing thing to me, that every time we have an event, I realize, you know, we've really got good staff here that run the township administration. But they can come here and talk to, you know, Paul Drury or Steve Sievers if they have a question about, hey, what might be, or Allison up front, what might be something that I'm missing on these blueprints, or because you'll have to go through, obviously, the zoning process first. But then it'll be kicked downtown. And with the experience, maybe we could save you a step. And nobody likes to have their plans denied or rejected.
And is the zoning done on this level?
It is.
At this level, so that helps a little bit.
It does, because they will give you the first, you know, if you have a problem. If you want to open up, let's say, a business that in an area where it's not zoned, that's going to be the first threshold that you're going to cross. And they'll be able to give you that answer here. They'll say, well, I'm sorry, you're not zoned for that here. But I'm always thinking outside the box as to how we can possibly expand small business here, not only in Anderson, but, you know, Ohio, the United States. Because we've you know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but small business has been taking it on the chin. In the recent, very few short years. We're told there's no inflation. Yet we pay about double for our gas. I don't know if you've bought a steak recently, but your food prices are off the charts. And it's easy to say there's no inflation when you exclude food and energy. What's left?
Two major things.
Two really big things. Well, but your small business guy, whenever his utility bill goes up by 10% or whatever that is, where's that felt? In his pocket.
That's right.
He doesn't, you know, he is the retained earnings. There's where your retained earnings are, right in your pocket. And when it costs you, you know, double to fill up your gas tank, $100 to fill up your gas tank, where a few short years ago it was maybe $40 or $50, that comes out of your bottom line. Where are you going to find, as a small business, where are you going to find those savings in production or efficiency to overcome that? So it's becoming more difficult.
More challenging.
More challenging to stay in business, to create a profit and live on that profit. And that's the challenge.
Because I think that, and it's becoming, as you said, more and more so, because you can't keep passing that on. In our business, I mean, you know, you got to stay at a certain level as far as what your customer pays, and the ladies that are going out and doing the work that we do, and the gasoline thing is a big thing. I mean, for them,
they're driving to the homes.
Because they're driving to the homes. And while we try to keep them as close proximity to their clients as we can, still get that expense. And when you're paying, you know, like what we are now, $3.69, $3.79, whatever it is, a gallon, depends on where you go. But that starts to add up, because those sound like pennies, but for them, that's big dollars.
A few short years ago, you could go fill up your car for $50, $50. Your credit card would go through one time. Remember? Now, depending on what vehicle you drive, your credit card might max out, or the transaction. Sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's 75. So I always sit there, these are all real costs that businesses bear, small businesses especially, because you're it. And I'm always looking at ways that, I understand we're a township, I understand it's very local, but if there's any way we could just encourage or somehow make it easier for people to open up. You know, somebody might have an idea. They might say, I want to expand into making widgets. I love that because I never knew what a widget was. But
As soon as you find out, let's make some widgets.
Let's patent it and then make a ton of money. But what I'm thinking is there any way we can make it easier for people to take that step and say, you know, there's plenty of lease space available in Anderson Township. You don't have to drive up and down Beachmont very far to see a for lease sign. That's not something I like. So is there any way we can fill those spaces up with small businesses?
Yeah.
Because that's who's going to take them.
Starting a small business is I mean, because the number of obstacles you face just walking in the door just to start one, I think creates a lot of deterrence for people that go, I just can't do it. I mean, I'm not going to be able to do it because you'd really have to give up a lot.
You do.
I mean, a great deal to be in.
A lot of your time.
Money. You give up your time. You give up money. I mean, if you're doing it right, you're going to be there more than you're not because it won't run by itself. And so there's a lot of sacrifices. But I think if you make it easier for them to at least get off the ground, and there's some support out there. If they got an issue, they can turn to somebody and go, what do I do? I mean, the chamber, I think, here does a nice job.
I was just going to mention that. The chamber here does a great job.
Yeah, they really do.
If anyone has, as a matter of fact, Eric Miller, who runs our chamber, he helped. I have a space behind my business that actually set up 2 independent small business, not mine, but I put it out for lease, and 2 ladies approached me. And Eric, one is a boutique, the other one is an alteration shop. But that's a small business. That's exactly the kind of things that we need.
Yeah.
And Eric, our local chamber, helped the boutique set up a Facebook page. She didn't have the, necessarily, I'm not great at Facebook. I don't know if you are, but he helped her set up a business presence online, which is what's required nowadays to kind of be in business. Yeah. And our chamber here is, I don't think enough people know the resource that it is.
I don't think they do either. And they have some, I think monthly, they do a couple of round tables with folks that are experts in certain fields that are dedicated to small businesses. So there's a lot of, and they are a great resource. I mean, if they don't do it, I'm sure they know someone that can help out. Because as you said, we're not all IT specialists. We're not all, and you got to have somebody you can get help to get things off the ground and get going.
We had a great, as a matter of fact, one of the recent roundtable discussions or roundtable lunches that we had, Greg Harshfield, he does around Anderson Township. He came in and discussed social media. And I thought I was pretty adept to social media, and I learned a lot that day. So if somebody wanted to start a business, he was giving you the fundamentals to how to get on Twitter, how to get on Facebook. And it sounds mundane, but these are all things that can only help you in starting your small business.
Well, and you need that. You need that. And when you think about small businesses are the bread and butter of the when it comes to the fact that the people they hire, number of people they hire, and really feed the economy.
I'd like to see us get back to where small business used to be the dynamo that ran this economy. Yeah. Used to be.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. No. And that's, to me, I think that's part of the problem that our economy is suffering as much as it is. I mean, we've had now, not to get too political, but I am a politician.
Of course you are.
Of course I am. We've had now 6 years of trying to do something, and the economy's been sputtering along.
Yes.
And small businesses are usually taxed at the personal income tax level, depending on how they're structured. So if you talk about raising the tax rates on those, you can say they're individuals, but they're truly not. A lot of them are small businesses. All you're going to then do is stifle the growth again. Right. I think we need to look at this anew. We've tried it now for 6 years. The economy hasn't really turned around. It's been sputtering, but I think our last growth was 0.1%.
Yeah.
That's not growth.
No.
And people are really, they're beginning to see that it's not working. So if we can figure out a way, and although I'm a trustee, it's a very local level, but if all the trustees or if all the local levels or the local governments tried to help either encourage or establish or expand the small businesses in their area, it would have a huge economic impact around this country. And I'd love to see where small business was the dynamo again that got this economy rolling.
Well, I would too, and because if you give them enough help, and if they are the staying power of the economy. I mean, you know, they don't come and go.
No.
If you can give them the base that they need to be able to function,
right,
and exist, and now they don't have that. You
know, too much recently, and I love corporations. Don't misunderstand me. They're a necessary business entity.
Right.
They do a lot of they provide a lot of services. They employ a lot of people. But when a large corporation decides, because of the economics or the economy downturn, that they're going to lay off 10,000 people, that's just devastating to a whole area.
Sure.
But if that was spread out, where you had 10,000 people employed by 5,000 small businesses or what, you wouldn't see that bomb of an impact on the local economy if things went south. Because you can be faster on your feet.
Sure. I mean, well, yeah, you can.
If pink's not the hot color today, you switch to red, and you know that instantaneously.
You can adapt more quickly at that level,
right,
than a big corporation can.
And I don't enjoy, you know, there was some discussion during our election, you know, about the aesthetics of Beachmont Avenue, which personally I think is better. I don't enjoy seeing the empty storefronts. I mean, I've seen too many. And we have you know, some good news. We have at least two new businesses coming into empty spaces on Anderson. They're both food related. I wish them both nothing but success. We have a potential third coming up on some redevelopment. You know, those are small businesses. That's the kind of stuff that I like. You know, you're not gonna hit the home run with a Belterra Park every year.
There aren't that many out there.
Not that many out there.
Those kind of businesses, no.
But you know, Belterra Park coming in feeds a lot of small businesses that provide services to that industry.
Absolutely, yeah. That's going to be a great, I think, and I've heard so many great comments about it. I haven't been there, but that's certainly going to be a spark for Anderson Township and for the area.
That area region around there is going to, there's probably some big announcements coming up. But, and I don't know anything particular, but I've heard rumors that area is fixing to see a rebirth.
Yeah.
And I did go down there, and I will say the food is really good.
That's what I heard.
It's going to hurt me
I heard
because I'm going to gain a solid 10 pounds. But I have the alteration shop right in back, so I can.
You don't have far to go.
No, it's time to let them out again. So you know, it's okay.
Of course, that thing is, you know, there's only so many.
There's only so much fabric.
So much fabric.
Well, I need to invent something, a little expandable pants in the back.
I've been trying to find
those.
those. If you do, let me know.
I mean, you know, that's just another example of, you know, small business seeing a need, fixing it, or creating a solution to a need instantaneously. Whereas big business, and again, I'm not anti-big business.
No, but I mean, it takes a lot longer for that to come into being, and much longer than a small business. You can, as you said, you can open up a shop behind you and open the door, unlock the door, and walk in, and you know, next day you're in business. You're in business,
and nothing. You know, I travel around when I'm driving. I drive between here and Hyde Park, our other location, daily. And every time I'm on the road, I do some of my best thinking behind the wheel, which is scary because I should be concentrating on driving, but that's another story.
You're the guy we've heard about.
That's right. But I'm always constantly thinking, if I see something, I'm like, is there a way that I can start a business that might address this? Or is there a need that I see not being filled that I could say, hey, you know what, that's an idea.
Yeah.
Or this is an idea. Or traveling on vacation. That's right. That's what they come. That's what built this country.
That's exactly right.
You know, we all don't have to be geniuses,
no.
or you know, Bill Gates. There's a lot of really honorable and great positions that can be filled and profitable positions that can be filled by just
Absolutely.
everyday people.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, you know what, it's refreshing for a guy like you to have you on board. I think, because I think that's what it needs, someone that's in it, doing it every day, and appreciates what the obstacles are and what the challenges are. And if you can generate some enthusiasm and find ways to help, create more of those opportunities for people, that's a big hit.
I just hope that everybody listening, watching, if they have the inkling, if they know somebody that either has a passion or a hobby or something they think they might be able to turn into a business, or a desire to step out there and say, you know what, kids are older now, they're at school all day, I would like to try this. Come talk to the chamber. If you have a need that's not being filled, for example, we see now in Anderson, I believe there is definitely a desire or a need for some Class A office space. We recently lost one of the attorneys here that I know, Chris Finney, went out to, there was in the paper, it was a big stories about it, went to Claremont County, just across the line. And I asked Chris, I said, well, we really would have liked to keep you here in Anderson. He said, well, we need some more Class A space. I just couldn't find it here. Well, there's a need. Now we have, because I'd like to run the township a little bit more like a business. If we see a need, maybe we can reach out to a developer and say, because they don't know.
No.
They don't have ears to the ground in every locale. Maybe we could say, we've been hearing there's a shortage of Class A space here in Anderson, and you might want to consider, we have these parcels available. A little more interaction between government and developers saying, we need this. You may want to consider building here.
That's what economic development's all about. And you've got somebody that is doing that. If you got somebody doing that sees the need and then goes out and puts it out there and to attract people to come in.
Right.
That's where it all begins.
That's where it all begins, and that could be, huge. We could keep more, again, professionals here.
Sure.
They might want to locate their engineering or their attorney office here in Anderson. They wouldn't, it would drive our property values, which is where we derive our income. Sure. That's a win-win.
I'd say you're on the right track, and I wish we had another half hour, but we don't.
Well, I'll stay.
But we could probably be here all afternoon.
Why not?
Hey, thank you for being here.
Did 30 minutes go by already?
30 minutes went by already, but it's really it's good to see you, and you're very refreshing. I enjoy just being around you because I feel the energy level is huge.
Well, look me up about 5 o'clock when the coffee wears off.
We'll be seeing you again, I know for sure. I wish you well, continued success, and keep doing good stuff.
Thank you.
Because you really are. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us and sharing your day with us and making us part of your day. We hope that you got a lot out of this show, and that if you have any questions, you know where to go. You call Andrew Pappas, and he'll send you in the right direction for sure. Hope that you have a pleasant day, the rest of this day, and we look forward to seeing you on the next ACTV's Trustee Talk. So please join us then. See you then.
Thank you.